Hello, everyone. Good evening, and thank you so much for joining me tonight for my YouTube channel. Tonight, we're going to be talking about part two of a four-part series that I am delivering around the core four. And the core four is basically a series of choices that we make to orient ourselves into a new way of being so we can stay in flow, so we can enjoy all of the blessings that life has to give us and we can experience a lot more joy and a lot less suffering. And in order to do that, we've got to be able to train that part of us that's completely scared to do anything new, the unconscious part of us that wants to keep everything the same. Whenever we try to create something new, it is different and it's a threat to the unconscious, and it tries to block us in any way, shape, or form that it can find through self-sabotage. So part of being the core four. So the core fours are choosing to be the predominant creative force in our life, choosing to live a life I love, choosing health and vitality, and choosing to live our true nature and purpose. Those four are the building block and the foundation of basically creating a life that you would love to live. The kind of life where you wake up in the morning and so excited to start your day. Instead of thinking about problems, we're really thinking about what we're creating. And so that's kind of what my work is all about, is to help condition others to a life of creating joy instead of a life of diminishing returns with problems. So without further ado, tonight's presentation is part two. You can see part one, which is choosing to be the predominant creative force in your life. That was recorded a few days ago, and you'll be able to find it on YouTube so you can follow along and get caught up. So we'll go ahead and get started with part two, Living a Life I Love. And I'll share the screen here. Okay, so Living the Core Four, Part Two, Living a Life I Love, and this is a Magical Mind presentation. I present these on behalf of Magical Mind. And so before we get started, what exactly is living a life you love? I really want you to take a moment and to really let that sink in and start to think about what it is that you really love. What does that mean to you? What does it mean to really love your life? And if you're not loving your life at this moment, that's okay. It just means that there's some changes that can be made, and you can choose to make changes. You are the creator of your reality, and you can make changes, and you can choose to do things differently. Instead of looking at your life as it is now, you can definitely look at how you want it to be created. And part of living a life you love is really putting your focus and your attention on the joyful aspect of what you want to create if you don't have them there, or what are the joyful aspects that you already have going on in your life? So before we move further, we're going to talk a little bit about consciousness. And consciousness is a fancy word, but it only means awareness. It's focus. That's all it is. It's the part of it that focuses on any particular aspect in any given moment. And the tricky part is sometimes we're not really focused on what we think we're focused on, though. For example, if you're focused on getting money, let's say that you're going to, you decide to get a job, or you decide to grow a business, or you decide to get more clients, whatever that is, you might think that you're focused on that particular activity, but in reality, the focus comes from the why. Why did you make that decision to go out and get more money? And usually it's from lack. And this is where the law of attraction is an idea that's incomplete, because no matter how many times you do affirmation, or meditation or mantras or any of the positive thinking that they tell you to do in order to activate the law of attraction, you've got to look at where your focus is. Because if your focus is on getting money, let's just say the conscious part of you, but you're doing it because you believe you don't have enough money, the law of attraction is actually working against you because you're focused on the problem. And we're going to go over that a little bit later in this presentation, but I wanted to bring that forefront that your awareness or the consciousness is not always what you think it is. It's not necessarily the thought that you're thinking in this moment. What's more important is where it came from. That's where the focus really is. That's where your body is actually in alignment with at that moment. There are three aspects of consciousness that we like to call it. So the first aspect that we'd like to talk about is the superconscious or your higher self. The higher self is the easiest way to call this. So basically, this is the part of you that is happy to have the human experience. It's happy to be in any situation whatsoever, whether it's challenging or whether it's blissful or whether it's traumatic. It doesn't matter what it is. It's just happy to have the experience. It's here to experience life. Then you have your ego self. And the ego self is your thinking part of your brain. It's your self-consciousness. It's the part of you that want to improve life. It's the part of you that gets up in the morning and wants to do things. It's also the part of you that would get upset that something's not there because it's not good enough. It's a part of us that judges things, that gives opinion. It's very concerned with the quality of life. So, for example, if you want a bigger house, maybe you want a relationship, all the desires that come forth, that's usually from the ego. That's from the part of us that want to improve. Then you have your unconscious. And now your unconscious, this is very interesting because not only is it interested in the quality of, in the quantity of life, excuse me, the quantity of life, meaning how long you're going to live. Its primary concern is safety and making sure that you do not die. That's what the unconscious primary objective is. It wants to make sure that you do not change. The reason why is because you have already survived everything up until this point. So everything up until this point is survivable, and anything new or different is a threat because it means that you could die. And what I want to talk about the unconscious is that the unconscious runs 95%, 95% of what's going on in your mind. They control 95% of your thoughts. And these thoughts are invisible. They are unseen. You're unaware that they're there for the most part until you are aware. And the other 5% is being fed to you, to your conscious mind, or to your ego from the unconscious. So 95% of your thoughts, if it's rooted in fear, then you can be guaranteed that the thoughts you're getting in your conscious mind of ideas that are going to create more fear. They might sound good, they might feel good, and that's only because it resonates with the unconscious. The unconscious is the feeling center of your brain. It's the part of your brain that sends signals whenever it feels threatened. So when you're doing something new, for example, your unconscious would throw up feelings of maybe shame or unworthiness or judgment because it feels threatened. It's trying to get you to stay the same. It does not want you to change. So I have some questions for you to think about. In this moment, what do you really want from life? Why are you here? What is your perfect dream life? What is it that you would really, really love to do? And how do you love to feel? Like what are some, when you wake up in the morning, like for me, for example, I love to feel joy. I love to feel exhilarated. And other times I love to feel calm. I love to feel the higher emotions of happiness and bliss. It just feels so good. And that's what I really like to focus on is feeling in those ways, right? And here's a really good one. What would your life be like if money was no object? If money were no object, what would you get up in the morning and do? How would you be? Would you be any different? Would you be the same? Like right now, if you had $1 million in your bank account, just imagine $1 million in your bank account. So you get a phone call or you win the lottery or something happened, you just get a windfall of a lot of money. And it is right now 8:35 p.m. Eastern time. And you get notification that you have $1 million in your bank. What would you do in the morning? And would you be any different? So as you're pondering the question, why is your life for you not like that right now? Why are you not living your dream life? Why are you not living, why are you not doing things that you really love? Why are you not feeling the emotion that you would love to feel? And why don't you have all of that? What are the reasons that you're telling yourself? And if you're telling yourself that, obviously, you're the one that's telling you that's why you don't have it. But who told you that that's the reason you don't have it? Somebody had to have told you that that's the reason, maybe you heard it, on TV or you heard it in society, your parents, your teachers, your siblings. You heard it from somewhere. And in all honesty, I can tell you that you have likely been misled. For whatever reason that you're telling yourself, or the reason that you've heard why you don't have all the things that you want, why you're not feeling loved, or why you're not feeling the emotions you want to feel, or why you're not living your dream life. Maybe you believe it's because you don't have the money, you don't have the circumstances, you don't have XYZ. But I can tell you that you've likely been misled. There's another real reason. Because we can have, be, and do absolutely anything that we want. The sky is the limit. And we've heard that before. The sky is literally the limit. There is no limit to what we can do. And this is regardless of circumstance. It doesn't matter where you came from. I've had people tell me, Nicole, you don't know my background. My parents were extremely poor, or I just didn't have the education. I didn't have this, or I'm an immigrant and I don't really speak the language. Whatever it is, it's an excuse. Because there's always a way. There's always a way. And it can be easy. It absolutely can be easy. The only person that's making it difficult is us, making it difficult for ourselves. There is a path of least resistance, and that path of least resistance can be the easy route instead of the hard route that we seem to choose all the time. And the problem is not you. So you're not the problem. You're not broken. Whatever experiences you've gone in the past and however you are right now, you are absolutely not broken. It is not personal. Success is not personal. There's absolutely no reason why you cannot be successful with whatever you have, regardless of the circumstances. The problem is the identity structure you're living in. It's your identity. When we were a child, we were given all kinds of ways of being and all kinds of decisions that we had to make. So, mom said not to do this, so I better be a good girl or a good boy and not do it so mama doesn't get mad. Or if I do this, then daddy's happy. All of the conditional ways of being that we've learned. And that created our identity, and that created belief structures and how we had to be based on how we were raised or the experiences that we believed in. And all of this creates what we call the problem structure. Because we grew up believing that if there was a problem, we had to fix it. And what happens is we have been so addicted to this type of solution-oriented, problem-solution-oriented structure that we're constantly looking for solutions. So even when you are focused on solution, the problem still exists. And the solution feels so good, right? And because the solution feels good, your body is always looking for the next problem. So it can feel good. So here's the structure that most of us live in. The current reality is not enough, not skinny enough, not pretty enough, not enough money, not enough fun, not big enough house. Whatever the case may be, it's not enough. And we believe that the future is going to be better, that there's something in the future. That's what we're working for. So every day we go to work, we get paid, and we take the money and we spend it to create a future that we believe is going to be better than the reality. But here's the kicker. We have the current reality that we're in. So for example, let's say that you don't have enough money. And this little guy that's moving on the screen, he's working on, you decide to have more money, so he starts working, decides, okay, let me go get a job. And he gets that job and he decides, oh, I still don't have enough money. Then he goes back to that identity of enough money. Then he says, okay, let me get a promotion. So then he goes and he gets a promotion and he works super hard. And then he almost gets there and then boom, he gets kicked back. Nope, I still don't have enough money. Let's open a business. And it just goes on like that over and over again. And it's a cycle. And you never reach your goal. The person who has the identity of not enough is the person that can get $10 million in their reality and it still not be enough. They still think that they need to get more. They're never satisfied. Another one is being single. This is another one that's big because people are looking for relationships and being single. You don't want to be single, so you look for relationships. Well, in this case, when you're single and you decide that you want to look for a relationship because you don't want to be single, you'll find yourself serial dating. this person and that person and that person. And sometimes you stay with the wrong person just so you don't want to, just so you're not single again. And the challenge here is your awareness, your focus is on the problem. So that's where your consciousness, you're putting all of the power in the problem. So all of the power is, I recognize this is happening. I don't like it. I'm going to change it. And I'm going to do X, Y, Z. So that circumstance is what's feeding you your ideas. And if that circumstance is feeding you the ideas, it always has to exist. Then you're going to go right back to that circumstance. And it's going to be created in infinite number of ways. So there's an infinite number of ways, and there's not enough structure, not enough money, not skinny enough. How many times do maybe we start the gym? Every January, everyone's putting resolutions. I'm going to lose weight. And you go on a diet and you start to lose weight, and maybe you see some progress in the month of January, but then by February comes around and you miss one day of the gym and you decide, yeah, I don't want to go anymore. Okay, yeah, you make excuses. And then 3 weeks later, you find out, oh my goodness, I have just gained all of the weight I just lost. And then you decide, okay, let me go and diet again and let me lose the weight. And you start yo-yoing. I mean, how many friends do we have that actually stay in the gym consistently for an entire year? Those are usually transformations that we celebrate. There's not very many of us that do that. And this is the reason why. Because they're focused on the problem structure. They're focused on the fact that they are not happy with the way they look. And they want to make changes to make themselves better. And that's where the problem lies. Because the future is not better. The future is just different. It's just different. You just want to do different things. And this is what I was saying earlier, that the most popular opinion, they tell you all over the place, focus on the solution, not the problem. Common sense, right? But here's the challenge. A solution cannot exist without a problem. The problem gave birth to the solution. It's impossible to not have a problem, to have a solution without a problem. So when you're focused on the solution, what's happening is you're conditioning your body to find problems so you can get that solution. And that solution feels good, right? It feels really good when you're fixing something, when you're like, you get that moment where you have a challenge and you're working really hard to fix it, and then you get that dose of reality where you actually solve the problem and it feels so good. Yeah, I solved the problem. And you've literally created an addiction that's almost like a drug for the body. Because the solution is nothing more than a feel-good path to the next problem. Because what happens when you find the solution? It's temporary. The feeling is temporary. You're off, you're a creator, so you're off doing the same thing. And in order to get another solution, you got to have a problem. So then you find yourself in a world of problem, solution, and then you're this guy going back and forth. And you're never fully satisfied. You're never abundant. You never reach the joyful place that you want to be. You experience it in very little segments, but you can never fully get there. So you're thinking, I get it. So what do we do now? So what do we do? And I got the answer for you. You must learn to be in the creative structure. How you feel in your current reality must equal your desired reality. And what this means is, when you're in your current reality, whatever is going on around you, you have a particular judgment about what's going on. You're thinking an opinion, I don't like this. And you're focused on the circumstance. And because you don't like it, all of your attention and all of your focus is there on the fact that you don't like it and you want it to change. But the law of attraction and the energies are building up on you for the stuff that you don't like. So then any idea that you have from that place is going to create more of what you don't want. So the key is to make your peace with what's going on right now. It is what it is. It's old news. You made a mistake. Great. You learn from it. Instead of beating yourself up and judging yourself for doing X, Y, Z that created whatever mess you're experiencing. And it doesn't matter what it is. It could be disease. It could be a bank account that's empty. It could be a relationship that just ended. It could be the fact that you're single. And you know what? There is no such thing as being single. I'm going to challenge people on that one, because when you are single, quote unquote, you're in a relationship with yourself. You're still in a relationship. It's a different kind of relationship. And so when you're getting into another relationship, it's not better, because when you have a relationship with yourself, it feels good too. It's just different. It's just different. The other way, when you have money in your bank account, it's not better. It's just different. You have experience. You're satisfied with the experience of being broke, let's say, or being in debt. You're satisfied. You're done. You've already lived that part, and you want to experience something different. I would love to experience abundance. Let me see what that feels like. Instead of, oh, I don't like what I feel, and I'm going to go get abundance because I feel terrible where I am right now. Because then what you're bringing with you is you're bringing that emotion of unhappiness into your future. So you got to find yourself in the moment where you are at peace with where you are in the moment. You have to be in complete satisfaction as a creator in general, and in complete satisfaction mentally and physically for where you are right now. Absolutely no judgment. And the judgment is what kills us. Because when you say something is better or worse, you're actually judging the situation. You're applying your opinion on it. And then when you do that, you're in a problem structure. And as I was explaining to you, when you're in the problem structure, the problem's always going to be there. You can't fully create and get into that consistent feeling of joy or clarity or calmness or whatever it is you're looking for. You won't be able to consistently be there because you're conditioning yourself to always find a problem. So you can feel good with a solution instead of feeling good all the time. We can feel good all the time. So it's important to realize that nothing is better. I'll give you another example. A billionaire, let's say. You know, you've got a billionaire, that you've heard a billionaire that's given up all of their money just so they can experience having none. So they become homeless on purpose. They become homeless on purpose, they give up everything. And the person that's already homeless would say, are you crazy? It's so much better to have money. And the billionaire could tell you a billion different reasons why it's better to be poor from his perspective. And the poor person can say the same thing about why it's better to be rich. So it's all judgment. So the key to understand is that it's not better. It's just different. It's a different reality that you are choosing for yourself. So here's another visual to help you understand how you need to be when you want to change your reality, when you want to have a different structure, when you're in the creative structure. So the current reality, you must be satisfied. And being satisfied means you have no resistance. You have no resistance to what's going on right now. If you're going through a period of emotional stress, it doesn't mean that you ignore it. It just means you let it run out. You make a peace. You know, some of us go through really tough times of grief, or maybe depression, or anxiety, heartbreak. Whatever it is, you accept it. You don't feed it. You don't say, why did this happen? And all these things. You just accept it. It is what it is. Because you do have the power to change it. So once you make your peace with whatever's going on, and you're in that place of acceptance and you're satisfied, then you say, okay, so what would I love to create? I'm satisfied where I am. I'm satisfied with this experience. I want something different. So what is it that we want? You know, if it's more money, if it's whatever else, then you go into the end result, and I will show you that later in this presentation, how to do that. But you're basically going into the end result of the emotion you wish to experience. So if you're experiencing a negative emotion at the moment, you find your neutral ground. You don't try to jump from a negative emotion to a positive emotion. That never works. There's a gap there. Your unconscious will fight you all the way. You got to make your peace. So you just get to a neutral ground, a place of satisfaction. Then you can move toward your desired reality where you're also satisfied. Because another thing that you got to understand is that we're never done. So when you get to your desired reality, it starts all over again. Your desired reality becomes your current reality. And then you got to do it all over again for your another desired reality, because we're always expanding. So you have to be it to see it. And what this means is, if you want abundance, you have to be abundant. You cannot plant seeds of scarcity and expect to grow a forest of abundance. So first you must find your peace with scarcity, let's say. If that's what you're experiencing, then you are okay with experiencing scarcity in this moment. You're done. You've experienced it, you've lived it, you're fine with it. You want something different now. You want to create abundance. So you get into that satisfied state, you make your peace, then you envision abundance. And the way that we do that is you have to have it now. You have to be abundant right here, right now, even if you have negative dollars in your bank account. And some people tell me, Nicole, how can I have it right now? I'm very sick. I feel so much pain. How am I able to have it right now? How can I have help right here, right now, in this moment? And this is why everything is created twice. Everything in this universe. We have electricity because of an idea. It starts in the mind. Everything. The cars that we have, the technology that we had. I remember at one time, what was it, 25 years ago, whenever it was, when the internet first started coming out and we were using our phone. And I remember how tough it was to get Wi-Fi before Wi-Fi even came out. And I remember thinking in my mind how nice it would be if I could just use my phone internet onto my computer. And that idea was there, and somebody got the idea, and Wi-Fi was born. And now we can use our phones all the time, and it's just very accessible and very easy. It's abundant. We have an abundance of a lot of things. So going back to everything is created twice, this is the reason why you can have it now, because first it's created in the invisible. If you have scarcity in your environment right now, it means that you're thinking thoughts of scarcity. You created it in the mind, and now you're experiencing it in reality. So in order to get abundance, in order to change it, you've got to be abundant in your mind first. Your unconscious cannot tell the difference between what is imaginary in the mind and what is real. It feels the same to the unconscious. It feels the same to your mind. And since it feels the same to your mind, there's no reason why you cannot have it all now. There's no reason why I cannot have a Ferrari in my driveway. I just go in my mind, if that's what I want, I go in my mind, I imagine the end result of the emotion I would feel driving it. What emotion would I feel? And I get that in my mind like a daydream, and I visualize it, and I feel it in my body, and I get the emotion, maybe it's gratitude, maybe I start crying, or for joy, I start laughing, exhilarated feeling. And I teach my unconscious that that's what it feels like to have that Ferrari in my driveway. And then eventually it will manifest, it will show up in the physical. And this is what we call the magical moment. Imagination is more important than knowledge. Knowledge is what we put up here in our mind. It's that talking voice, the ego. And it's very limited. Imagination is what encircles the world. And this is a quote from Albert Einstein. Imagination is where we create. So now we're going to get into the 4 core choices. And before you can become a true creator and experience the magical moment, you first need to choose 4 core choices to orient your body into a new way of being. And as I said earlier, these 4 core choices become your baseline. You're conditioned to living these core 4 choices, so then the idea that comes to you are ideas to create more love, create more joy, create more abundance, whatever it is that your heart desires. When you're living in these core 4 realities, it becomes so much easier, and your unconscious fights you less and less. Now the unconscious is working with you instead of against you. And it does take some time because we have been conditioned to live in fear. We've been conditioned to live with problems and finding solutions. So when we start changing it and becoming more, we're only thinking about what we're going for. We're not thinking about problems. We're focusing on what we want. It doesn't mean that the problems are not there. It's just we're shifting our attention. We're not putting all of our focus on the problem. We recognize that it's there, but we create something different. We're not looking at the solution. We're creating something different. We're really focusing on what it is that you want to create, and it's predominantly the emotion. Because the problem It's making you feel a certain way. And instead of recognizing it as a problem, now it becomes a challenge. It's a challenge that we overcome, that we just simply change. We're just creating something new. And it becomes a lot easier when you're living the core four choices. So these are the core four choices, not in any particular order. I choose to live a life I love. I choose to live my true nature and purpose. I choose to be the predominant creative force in my life. And I choose to be healthy and vital. Now, it makes sense when you look at the core four. And the reason why we chose these is because obviously living a life I love, everything is about love. And the more you do things that you love, the more love shows up in your life. Life just becomes more joyful. And when you choose to live your true nature and purpose, your true nature is joy. We are created as joyful beings. We're created to be happy. We're created to be abundant. We weren't created to suffer. And when you're choosing to live your purpose, that's what gives you reason to keep going in the world. That gives you that drive to be able to live your true nature through your purpose. And as we spoke last week, choose to be the predominant creator in your life. So you're choosing to be creative instead of a disintegrator with ego. You're choosing to create love instead of fear. And you're choosing to believe in yourself that you can have, be, or do anything that you want instead of giving in to your limited beliefs. And then, of course, you have to choose to be healthy and vital, because if you don't make that choice, if you're not healthy, you won't have the energy to do any of those things. So absolutely, you need to focus on health and vitality. So today we're choosing to live a life we love. And today's mission is to be so busy loving life, so busy that you have no time for drama, regret, hate, worry, or fear. You are so busy creating a life you love, so busy thinking about what you adore, what you appreciate, what you love, that you have no time for anything else. And it doesn't mean you live a life with no problem. It just means that instead of reacting to problems, now you're responding and you are creating. You're becoming a creator. And every time you make a choice, every single time, but moment by moment, even the unconscious choices, the invisible instruction, you're either choosing love or you're choosing fear. And if you're choosing fear, you're disintegrating. So now when you think about living a life you love, if we revisit the question that you thought in the beginning of the presentation, now you are living a life you love. Now what do you really want from life? Now what is your perfect dream life? You can't create it. You have no limiting beliefs. You can create it. What would you love to see yourself doing? What kind of life would you dream? What do you really, really love to do? Maybe it's drawing, maybe it's dancing, singing, maybe it's just chilling on the beach. What is it that you love, love, love to do? Helping others, serving. And how do you love to feel? You'd love to do those things and they make you feel a certain way. So how do you love to feel? What emotion do you love to feel? And then we revisit the question, what would your life be like if money was no object? We would have a lot of choices, wouldn't we? You could pretty much get up and do whatever you wanted to do. What would that be? And how would you be? Would you be different or would you be the same? And when I say, would you be the same, would you wake up the same person just with different choices? Because it's not better, right? You wouldn't be a better person. You would just be different. It's just different. When you choose to not take action, you are making a choice. You are still taking an action. No action is still an action, and you're choosing fear. When you choose to not trust yourself, and this also is shown in if you're the type of person that doesn't trust other people, that means that you don't trust yourself. It's a mirror, and it means that you choose fear. And if you choose to stay the same, meaning you're not going to be a creator, you're going to continue living life as you've always been living, continue making the same decisions, continue cycling the same experiences. If you're choosing to stay the same, we have free will to do so. And if you choose that, be aware that you're choosing fear. If you choose obligation over desire, Let's say that your friends ask you to do something or your family asks you to do something and you are scared to say no, and you decide to say no, and you decide to say yes instead of no. You're choosing fear because you don't want to do something. You have every right to say no. I don't want to do it. It doesn't make you a bad person. And if you say yes, it means you fear judgment. If you choose to put others first, you're choosing fear. You have to choose to put yourself first. This is not selfish. This is not being selfish when you are wanting to take care of yourself. If you choose to dwell on problems, you're choosing fear. And if you choose to worry, you're choosing fear. And every time you choose fear, you are just choosing to disintegrate. You are choosing. You are choosing, in essence, to commit suicide. It's just a long suicide. We're all going to die at one point. So if you continue to stay in fear, you're absolutely disintegrating and you are choosing to kill yourself. Which is a slowly dying death. When you're miserable, you're slowly dying, and I think everybody would agree with that. So this is what living a life you love means. So when you decide to be a creator and you decide to choose, okay, you know what? I'm going to choose to live a life I love. I deserve it. I'm worthy. I deserve to have my dream. I'm going to go for it. To do that, you have to live without judgment. Throw judgment out the window. Your opinion don't matter. And anyone else's opinion doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is truth and you going for what you want. Just because you love it. So without judgment, just because I love it, I'm going to go for this. You practice gratitude. Instead of practicing fear, you practice gratitude. And the easiest thing to do is maybe get up in the morning. There's all kinds of techniques and tips that you can find. Most popular one is to write down every morning 10 things you're grateful for, and then 10 things before bed. And you get into the habit of that, they build upon each other. Then life becomes a lot easier, and you start getting into more love, into more joy, and more clarity, and so on. And the most important thing is you live in the end result. And what this means is go into the desired reality that you wish to create. And you are living from that place. You are living from the energy. Because you have to match that energy. You have to be in alignment. So let's say you want to create the end result of being a millionaire. Well, you go in there in your mind, you imagine yourself already having it. You already have the $1 million. How do you feel? What's the emotion that you're feeling? You conjure it up in your mind and you feel it and you live from that place. You live from that emotion. You don't let anything else derail you from that emotion. And yet that means that you've got to feel that emotion whenever something happens that you might judge as good or bad. This is why it's important to get judgment out the window. So you're just going for what you want. And this is how the uber successful people get there. They don't let anything stand in their way. They just go for what they want and they continue doing that. Number 4, you pay attention to your body and you listen to its needs. When the body wants rest, you take a rest. You take naps. You go to sleep. Doesn't matter. You get the rigidness out of the window. If you get 4 hours of sleep one night and you get 8 hours of sleep the next, it's whatever your body needs. You make sure that you feed it healthy food. You balance feminine and masculine energy. Your feminine energy, your feminine action is when you are doing self-care, you're resting, relaxing, making healthy choices, drinking water, self-care. And the masculine action is when you do something, when you take action. You make that phone call, you talk to that person, you make the presentation, you give the presentation, you record it, whatever that action is. And you have to balance the two of them. You practice forgiveness, you practice self-love, and you focus on compassion, not empathy. And I like to talk to my clients when I tell them many of my clients are empaths. And the challenge with being an empath is that you resonate with the emotions of others, whether they're high emotions or low emotions. And the high emotions are fine. It's easy to resonate with that. We feel good. But then sometimes when we come across someone with lower emotion and we take that upon ourselves, it's very challenging for us as individuals because we're resonating with that. And the way to get out of that is to focus on compassion instead of empathy. You focus on understanding what that person is. You don't try to feel the energy that they're feeling. You just understand that it's there. You understand what they're going through. And then you take it from there. And then last one, you choose love over fear. You always choose love. So we're going to practice now a visualization exercise, and it's very quick. Let me stop share for a moment. So this one's going to focus on living a life you love. So find a comfortable spot, and you can close your eyes or keep them open, whatever benefits you. But find a way to relax. And we're going to focus on living a life I love. So take 3 deep breaths, in through the nose and out through the mouth. And as you're breathing out, I would love for you to set the intention that you're going to relax. Set the intention that you're going to completely and totally relax. And as you're relaxing, I would love for you to focus on your breath. Just observe the breath. Observe the breath going into your body and flowing out. There's nothing to do with your breath, just observe. And now you're going to shift the attention to the top of your head and relax the top of your head as if you're in a warm shower. So imagine you're in a warm shower and you're just relaxing. And relax the muscle. And move down to your eyes. Relax your eyes, your nose, your ears, your mouth. And move down to your neck. Relax the neck, the shoulders. Relax your arm. Release all of the tension in your body. Then relax your waist, your thighs, your calf muscles, your legs. And your feet. And really focus on relaxing your body. And as you're relaxing, I want you to step into the end result of living a life you love. As if you're already living that life. Find a time in the future where you are already living the life you love. And what does it look like? What does living a life you love look like for you? What are you doing? Who are you with? You're already living a life you love. What are the thoughts that you're thinking to yourself? What are some things you say to yourself? What would you be doing? You're living a life you love. Where would you go? And take a deep breath and breathe it all in. And notice, what emotions are you feeling? Where are you feeling it in your body? And really get into the emotion and feel it. You're living the life you love and you're absolutely loving every minute. And really focus on the feeling. And now that you have this feeling, this emotion of you living the life that you love, I want you to choose it. And I want you to say it out loud or to yourself. I choose to live a life I love. I choose to live a life I love. And choose it with all of your heart and soul. I choose to live a life I love. And breathe it all in. And when you're ready, open your eyes and come back in. And now this wonderful visualization exercise can be done anytime throughout the day, and it's very important to stay in the creative structure. This is the emotion that you want to feel when you are creating. You stay in this emotion. And the ideas that come to you when you're in this state are the ideas and the thoughts that are in alignment with living a life you love, instead of in alignment with problems and fear. I really hope you've enjoyed tonight's presentation. Next week, we'll be talking about part 3, which is choosing health and vitality. And I will be going through that. If you would like to join me, it is going to be on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. It is on Zoom. You can find me on Meetup, located in Charlotte on the Meetup app. And it starts at 7 p.m. and the room is called The Law of Attraction. That is an idea that is incomplete. You may also follow me on my YouTube channel so you can keep up with the recording that I post every week. And I also have an Instagram at I am Nicole Rayner, or you can shoot me an email. If you would love to communicate with me and ask me questions, you're more than welcome to email me at nicole@attractinggrace.com. And thank you so much, everyone. Good luck on being creative. And it is an honor to give you this presentation. And I thank you so much for your time. Have a great night, everyone.